Hello. Tripura ha ho ho aha kajaruta pai panike nisho moso hrido pani nisha moso nake Tripurani shikla maha kajaruta pai panike nisho moso hrido pani nisha moso nake Hayo hayo ha hayo hayo ha hayo hayo ha hayo hayo. This is the folk song of Tripura. Tripura is again a hilly state and it is bordered on three sides by Bangladesh, and on one side it is bordered by Assam and Mizoram. The state has got a very long history and it had been ruled for about 1300 years by various rulers before it joined with India in the year 1949. There are various theories regarding the origin of the name Tripura. Some say that Tripura got its name from the great ruler Tripur, and some say that it is a compound of two words, Tui and Pra. Tui means water and Pra means near. So it means near water in the language Kokborok, their tribal language. There are about 19 major tribes. River Gomati flows through the state. And coming to culture, it's a mix of the culture of the tribal people and the culture of Bengalis. How Bengalis? During the partition of Bengal, many people they migrated to Tripura. So they've got two official languages. One is Kokborok, which is their tribal language, and the other one is Bengali. Their major occupation is agriculture. Some people they engage themselves in various craft work using bamboo and cane. The women of Tripura they wear a traditional dress called as hignai, something like a wraparound. The tribal people used to live in a traditional house made out of bamboos, and the house is called as tongar, and it will be built on a raised platform with the bamboo poles supporting that. And coming to dance and music, they are very much part of their culture. The tribal people they sing and dance on various religious occasions and also during festivals. So these are some facts about the place. And now we'll move to the story. There was a beautiful and prosperous village on the top of a mountain in Tripura. People lived in peace and harmony. They had good food to eat, clean air to breathe, and pure water to drink. Almost everybody in the village they owned some land, and those who did not have a land they worked in others' land for wages. There lived an old woman in a small house with a beautiful garden. She lived alone and she was too old to work. So everybody in the village decided to help her and they took turns to feed her. Every morning, the old lady would go out and collect some food for the whole day. One day, the lady collected some food and she entered the garden of her house and she said, "My dear child, where are you? Grandmother has come and see what I have got for you. Your favorite bananas. Come quickly." And do you know who came there? There came an iguana. What is an iguana? A big lizard. And it is mostly herbivorous. The iguana lived in a hole in a tree in the grandmother's garden, which was in the grandmother's garden. The grandmother treated that iguana as her own child. She loved him very much. She used to feed him every day with whatever she had got. And she would make sure that the iguana had eaten everything before she goes home and eat her food. So that day, the old woman called the iguana. The iguana came there happily, twitching its tail, shaking his body and rolling his eyes here and there. The old lady was very happy to see the iguana and she fed him some rice and his favorite bananas. While the iguana was eating, the old lady patted on his back lovingly. She saw him eating with her affectionate and caring eyes. The iguana also enjoyed all this and he responded by purring as a sign of reciprocating his love. So this happened every day. One day, the old lady didn't go to collect the food, didn't feed the iguana. She was just lost in deep thoughts. She was thinking about a wedding that was going to happen the next day. It was a wedding of a daughter of a rich man from the village. The rich man had called everybody in the village and he had personally come to the old woman's house to invite her. So she was just thinking about what rignai to wear. Rignai is that wraparound dress. She had only two rignais. One rignai she was wearing that day. The other rignai was very dirty and it was torn. She was wondering how could she wear that torn rignai to the wedding. Meanwhile, the iguana had come out several times to see if the grandmother was there waiting to feed him. The grandmother totally forgot that she had to go and collect the food. Suddenly she remembered about that and she came out. She saw the iguana's tail disappearing into the hole. She went and collected some food. She came near the tree and called the iguana. But the iguana didn't come out at all. Maybe he had slept or maybe he didn't hear the grandmother's voice. The grandmother kept waiting there for a long time. But the iguana didn't come out at all. She felt very bad and she blamed herself for having forgotten to feed the iguana. She went to her house and she also didn't eat anything that day. Meanwhile, the preparation for the wedding was going on. The people of the village were so happy and excited. The bride's father was also very happy and excited. He was planning to give a grand feast to everybody in the village. He was also thinking of serving a special dish for the wedding, a special meat that the people had not eaten at all. The people had not eaten at all. So he was just thinking and suddenly he remembered about the iguana. He had seen that iguana when he had gone to invite the old woman. So he thought, why can't I serve them the meat of iguana? I'm sure they must have not tasted the meat. So let me do that. So he called the young boys in the village and he told them, go to the grandmother's house, kill the iguana and bring the meat. One of the boys said, uncle, but the grandmother loves that iguana so much. She has been taking care of him all these years and she treats him like her own child. But the rich man was just deaf to the words of the boy. He said, it is after all an iguana. What harm could it do to the old lady if the iguana is killed? Just go, kill the iguana and bring the meat. The boys were left with no choice. So they went to the grandmother's house and it was pitch dark. Oh! The wolves were howling at a distance. One boy went ahead carrying a small lamp to show the path. They reached the grandmother's house, they entered the garden, and before that they peeped through the window to make sure that the grandmother was sleeping. She was in her deep sleep. They went near the tree where the iguana lived and they pierced a long pointed bamboo stick into the hole and it made the poor iguana to jump out. Immediately the boys killed the iguana and they chopped the iguana. They took the meat with them silently. The moment the iguana was killed, the grandmother woke up horrified. She could sense that something had happened. She could feel that something bad had happened. Her heart crumbled with unexplainable sorrow. She just choked. She drank some water and went back to sleep again. Suddenly she heard a voice. The voice said, "My dear grandwoman, get up fast and run away from this place." She got up horrified, but she couldn't see anybody there. And she just thought it must be some dream and tried to go back to sleep. She was just tossing in her bed with a lot of anxiety. Sometime later, she went back to sleep again. Again, she heard a voice. The voice said, "Are you still sleeping? Get away from this place. The whole village is going to be washed away." She got up and she just thought whether it was a dream or something real. She again heard the same words being whispered into her ears. And then she decided that it must be something real. So she quickly went out of her house. And do you know where she went first? She went to the tree to save the iguana first. When she went near the tree, she saw a lot of blood on the ground. She suspected that something must have happened to the iguana. Before she reacted, a gust of wind blew and the trees just swayed here and there. The branch from a tree gently lifted the old woman and it threw the old woman into the nearby village. At dawn, the next morning, the people in that village saw an old woman lying down unconscious. They helped her, they nursed her, they tended her wounds. After some time, the old lady got back her consciousness and she came back to her senses. She didn't know how she landed up in that village. She narrated the whole story to the people there. Some people and the grandmother, they decided to go to the grandmother's village to see what had happened. They reached the place, but they couldn't see any village there. The whole place was covered only with water. There was no sign that a village ever existed in that place. It was full of water. The people were so surprised to see that. Suddenly, the old woman saw a beam of light coming from a tree, and that was a tree where the iguana lived. Everything in the village perished except that tree where the iguana lived and the old woman. Now the old woman understood who had saved her life. It was the iguana. The people also believed that River Gomati would have become very furious seeing what happened to the iguana. So she was the one who destroyed the whole village. She was the one who washed away the whole village. The people recall this story to show how lack of empathy had changed a prosperous village into ruins. What is empathy? Empathy is the ability to understand others' feelings. If the rich man had understood the grandmother's feelings and her love for the iguana, he would have not killed the iguana, right? So, this is a beautiful story about the village, how the village got destroyed. So, children, let us all try to be empathetic to others. I hope you like this story. So, meet you all in another story next week. Bye.